don't think you do have to compromise the values. You might have to grow slower.
Yeah.
You might have to concede in other things. I think if you compromise your values, you've got to ask the question, for me, you've got to ask the question why you're doing it.
Hi, Jay.
Good afternoon.
Great to be here to talk about your personal journey to being CEO of Wayfairer Travel. Before we go into the detail of it, I'd love to talk about the strapline on your website, Dream Big. As a child, did you have any dreams to be a CEO, or was there a dream to be something else?
There was a dream to be something very different.
All right, go on.
My dream was to be a pilot.
Oh, was it?
And I even got as far as going through the Air Force selection process.
Really?
In a year that the government cut funding for the actual intake. So went through the whole process to find out that there was no funding for pilots for the next 2 years. Ended up tripping into corporate.
Yeah.
Not really with an intent to become a CEO, just it was a good lifestyle. I got into overseas postings.
Right.
And then, being a board member was more interesting, or more the aspiration. I never really thought of seeing myself as a CEO, to be perfectly honest.
No. So when things maybe didn't quite go to plan, i.e. you didn't get the funding, how did you deal with that?
It wasn't so much dealing with it, it was just on to the next thing. And went and
Positive
found a job.
Attitude and exactly.
Found a job that I didn't enjoy at all. So my original job was working in banking.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Something we have in common.
Indeed. Something I worked out very quickly that I wasn't really suited to. Tripped my way into the supply chain industry for a smallish company that was an agency for a bigger company. So I got to touch on a lot of different aspects of the business, which was exciting at a young age.
Yeah.
And the thing I think I learned then was I was fairly curious.
Yes.
And I liked to understand how things worked and could things work better. And I think that was where the whole journey started, to be perfectly honest. Worked in originally a UAE role that then expanded to a bit more of a regional role across the Middle East. And that led me to a promotion into Asia Pacific, and it kept going from there. And mostly with DHL, who was took me offshore. Then I left DHL, worked with other various companies around the world, and ended up back at DHL. Well,
if there's any company with a global footprint, it's got to be DHL.
And that was huge. It was a big part of the early shaping.
Yeah.
Gave me a lot of exposure, equally a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
And DHL was a great training ground.
Yeah.
Can't thank them enough.
So what made you leave there?
It was funny. I never really was a fit in corporate.
Right.
I was the guy they sent to fix places that were broken.
Yeah.
And I was relatively good at that, but that comes with its own stigma. So the stigma was, I was the guy that was a bit outspoken. I was the guy that was a bit, he fixes stuff, but do we really want him at the table?
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I thought I did want to be at the table, so I looked elsewhere for it, left DHL, and I ended up working for the Minister of Oil and Gas in Oman.
Right,
which was a massive change.
Again, that was probably quite early days in the tourist industry, at least,
Very early days, very early days.
What was that like?
Fabulous. Beautiful country, amazing people, an incredible business opportunity to run an Arab trading house with huge diversity. And the owner was a fabulous man. Can't speak highly enough of him, and supported me and empowered me and enabled me to do some good stuff for him.
Yeah, and what did you learn there?
A lot that was where I learnt the most about cultures and cultures in tough environments and dealing with those cultures when things go wrong. There was a lot of real hard learnings in those, a lot of making mistakes and picking yourself up from those mistakes. So that was probably when I got the first real taste of making big mistakes that you had to own.
Yeah.
And when you own them, you've got to work out how to fix them, and you don't always have the answers.
No. So something I was thinking about, often when you get growth, which obviously you joined, and the company's had a fantastic leap in revenue, sometimes you have to compromise those values. How did you feel about that? Or did you have to compromise anything?
I don't think you do have to compromise the values. No. I think you can do it without compromising your values. You might have to grow slower.
Yeah.
You might have to concede in other things. I think if you compromise your values, you've got to ask the question, for me, you've got to ask the question why you're doing it.
Yeah, is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And when you joined, you wasn't necessarily CEO at the beginning?
No, I was an early investor.
Right. Yeah.
Investor advisor
Yeah.
was where I came in. Small company, £400,000 per annum. Recently founded, 2 young guys that were the 2 founders, the only 2 members. So essentially I became employee number 3 as the advisor, but not fully employed. Did a couple of things that were just natural to me, and we accelerated growth.
Yeah.
And accelerated it at such a level which wasn't expected and wasn't planned, to be
Amazing.
perfectly honest. I ended up joining. And
Pleasant surprise, yeah.
it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
It was something that gave me an option that I wasn't really expecting, and I said earlier, I've never really felt comfortable in the corporate world, because I'd always wanted to do more and make a difference, which you can't always do in the corporate world. So I took a leap of faith. I doubled down. I put everything into it, and the 2 founders wanted me to step up to the CEO role.
Right.
At first, I was a little bit reluctant because of founders versus investors versus
And are they
coming
still
in.
involved in the company?
No, they're both gone.
Right.
So no, it's me now.
Yeah, so
And
everything's on
and
your
great-
shoulder.
Yeah, well, yes and no. If you form the right leadership team, it does become shared.
Yeah.
Ownership, I see as something in the background. I don't see it as part of what I do. It's there, but it's not part of how I make decisions or how we operate as a company.
So did anything surprise you becoming CEO? Because you hadn't been CEO before, had you?
I'd been what you call a group general manager.
Right, okay.
And I'd been a COO.
Of bigger companies,
Of bigger
I suppose.
companies.
Yeah. So it was probably a natural progression to...
Yeah, that part of it was easy.
Yeah.
That part of it was easy. The bigger shock was in a company that's smaller, that has potential, and then to bring the aspirations with the founders that had different goals.
Right.
And founders are an interesting breed, a very interesting breed, as I learned.
Yeah, I've lived that life. So tech and innovation. So I come from a fintech and background myself, but the travel industry has been massively disrupted, I would imagine, by tech and AI personalization, automation. How have you been able to embed that into what you do at Wayfairer Travel?
So when I first joined Wayfairer, the first things that I insisted on as part of my investment was they had no systems at all. It was a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, some names and some, in a shared file. It was, and the proposals were being done on a thing called WordPress that were taking a week to turn around. So there was 3 things that I did. I had a accounting package implemented immediately. We then put a CRM in place.
Yeah.
And my first real touch into travel was at WTM.
Yeah.
And I was...
World Travel Market.
Yep. And I was shocked at how unsophisticated it was, because I thought I'd come from an unsophisticated industry. I always sort of thought supply chain was a bit rough and ready, and we threw boxes around and delivered stuff and forklifts and all that type of thing. And I was shocked. I was really shocked. So I also saw opportunity. So we actually built an in-house proprietary itinerary tool, which meant proposals that had been taking 7 days were now happening same day. Right. And then we integrated those systems. I then used a lot of what I'd been taught through my supply chain practices, and we started putting in workflows. And then we started getting smart about, hang on, let's take a step back from this. Where this starts, which is a lead or an inquiry, how do we take that data and never re-enter that data ever again? By default, we sort of became a company that was very focused on tech that sells travel. And it served us really well, really well.
Kind of future-proofing your company.
In a big way, wasn't necessarily the plan, but it was how it's played out. And as you started to see the benefits from it, it really did give us something a bit different to the rest of the industry, especially in the luxury travel space. Because we're across, whereas a lot of the others are verticals.
Right.
And you've got strong technology in the verticals.
Yeah.
It's not strong in the horizontal aspect.
And so how do you keep that pace up now with the innovation?
A lot of sleepless nights and energy and just dogged commitment. And it's hard.
So how do you now personally define success? Yeah. Is it just profit? I'm assuming it isn't just profit.
Profit's not even on the radar.
No.
No. Have the interest in profit, God's honest truth, is the ability to reinvest in the business and do better for our clients.
Yeah.
My passion is the business.
Yeah.
That passion is driven by what we do for clients. So I wake up every morning and the first thing that I go to is our reviews. And the reviews that we get from our clients show what we're doing.
Pretty good, aren't they? I did check
They
them
are
out.
brilliant.
Really good.
Yeah. And that shows that we're getting it right.
Yeah.
It also allows me to see if we are missing anything or any opportunities to do better. My biggest passion is client. My second biggest passion is the product quality for those clients.
Yeah.
And within that's my team and my people. And, that all comes together and it's a shared passion with all of those because the team delivers the quality which delivers to the client. And it's that very victorious cycle.
Enthusiasm for the, your team in the business and everything.
Yeah.
It is, it just manifests. So how are you thinking of taking the business to a new level? From my business, we've just gone through some M&A. So that took us to the next level.
Yeah.
But is that something, on your agenda, or is there another way maybe you don't want to go to that next level?
We're fortunate. We've been able to bootstrap and we've got to a decent sized revenue business. We're now out of the small business into medium business, but accelerating very quickly past the medium business size. We're going to double in the next 8 months. For the first 7 years, there was 2 major components that were my Achilles heel. And I've spent 7 years thrashing every possible option, outsource, agencies, experts, fractional leadership, you name it, I've tried it.
Yeah.
Eventually it came down to look inside, work with your team and accept that it's just a whole lot of hard work.
Obviously very important. You want to be a global business. So how do you build and nurture those partnerships, especially as you're not necessarily in the premises with them and even in country with them? How do you work this?
Part of it's how you structure your business. So putting the right structure with the right support, so you've got the right connections and the right timings. So we do a lot of work around that. So having enough people, having the operations strong. We have a very, very strong operations side on the business. Integrity, looking after, don't go after your suppliers for rates when you're in our space.
No.
We're not pushy on that side of things. Picking the right partners through the right vetting process.
Yeah.
Sometimes...
Do you go out and meet them in person?
Oh, yeah. I've met a lot of that. And look, in the early stages, that's harder because of affordability. So now we're at a stage where we can start looking at regular supplier reviews. And it's not to go and put pressure on the suppliers. It's how do we work together better?
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee we're not doing everything right.
No.
They get some things. There are things that we'd like our suppliers to do better.
Right.
And I think that depth really is the enabler to that part of that next phase of growth as well. We've done okay on supplier partner relations.
Yeah.
We can do a lot better, so it will be an area of focus as we go forward.
So looking to the future now, and you're a purpose-driven company, what kind of skills do you value now in your team?
So this is the interesting part, right? We've taken a view that technology's going to help us with the culture that we have, the brand that we're building, to give our people more time for the good stuff.
Right.
For the fun stuff, for the stuff that clients value.
Yeah.
So we're working really hard, and the questions I ask of my team is, what's the stuff you don't like?
Yeah.
What's the stuff that takes away from your job?
That. Yeah.
And let's automate that. I think things have got a potential to get very vanilla
Yeah.
because everyone's got the same access to the same technologies,
Yeah.
and the pace at which they're evolving means we will run into vanilla quicker than we had looked like we were going to run into it earlier.
So future of somebody who's come out of school, out of university, is there any recommendations, especially, not just going into travel, but going into different industries? Is there any recommendations you would make to them?
Keep away from the jobs that can be automated or put through tech very quickly. I think there's going to be a massive renaissance of the arts and those types of things. I think around human behaviour and understanding people. I think any of those areas, focus on jobs where there is high human touch.
Yeah, people buy from people go to see people.
Correct. And I think, we've gone through a period of a bit of pulling back from people to people. I think this, ironically, is going to be an enabler for us to see more of the people-to-people side of things.
So Jay, if you had 3 bits of advice for some professional aspiring leader or something like that, what would they be?
All right, so it's interesting. This is very, very timely. I was catching an Uber today, and the Uber driver asked me a couple of questions. Yeah, and he said he wanted to get into business and asked me exactly this. Didn't necessarily ask 3, but he got 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So one of the things I said to him is, you've got to believe in yourself. You must believe in yourself. Self-belief is so important, because when you're going through business, you're going to hit a lot of tough times.
Yeah.
You're going to hit so many tough times. Self-belief, number 1. Top of the list every single time. Make mistakes and be in an environment where people understand that mistakes are important to the development, the growth, and the success. Finally, don't try and start too big. Start small.
Yeah.
Because while you're making the mistakes, small is recoverable.
Yeah.
So don't think small's bad. Small's actually a superpower. And from that, those 3, bolt them together, and you've got every opportunity to succeed.
Fantastic. Yeah, agree. Absolutely. Is there anyone that is inspiring you at the moment?
It's funny where you get inspiration from. Recently, my daughter had a bit of a setback at school, and she picked herself up. She did the self-analysis. She owned the problem and showed me that, and reminded me that, even at that age, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off. And ironically, I got inspiration from that very recently.
Oh, amazing. I've loved speaking to you.
Likewise.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jay came across as a very strong leader, but one that is not just besotted by profit at all costs, one that's besotted by customer centricity, I would say. The product that he's selling to the travellers seemed ahead of his time, definitely in the travel industry. By using AI, he could allow his staff then to spend more time on the interesting parts of their roles. It's been a great day. I've had some really interesting conversations. I may even book a holiday with him, and I'm really looking forward to my next conversations.